Hello, everybody. Welcome to Not Another Isekai, a show all about the currently airing anime, what you should watch, what you shouldn't watch, how many of them are Isekai. Probably too many, because that's just the trend. My name is Tyler, and yeah, we're gonna get into it, man. This is gonna be episode 1. Like I said, brand new show, Not Another Isekai. Have a good time. Gonna be a good time talking about anime. Current anime, because there's just so much anime that comes out every season. It's really a fascinating way that that the industry releases these shows, so they're just jam-packed right into a season, 4 times a year. So we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We got a huge list, bunch of shows. Got how many shows I got? 10 shows. Okay, that's a nice even number. Didn't plan that at all. And we're gonna talk about them. So for the first, let's say, like 30 seconds, I'm just gonna kind of explain what this is gonna be, because this is episode 1. So basically, every season, anime fans watch the new anime, right? See which ones are worth watching, which ones aren't. And so with this show, I'm going to cover a bunch of different shows that I feel like are worth watching, at least just personally, right? And as the season goes on, we might drop some shows, maybe, after a 3rd or 4th episode, not really feeling it, we're going to drop it. Maybe there's some shows that are late bloomers that we'll pick up later on in the season. That does happen from time to time. And yeah, pretty much anything could be here. We got some sequels, we got some originals, we got some manga adaptations. Yeah, I think really so far this season is pretty strong. We'll see if some of these shows have legs. Some of them do. Some of them are pretty guaranteed. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of discuss a bunch of shows, what I thought of the episodes, predictions, that sort of thing. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Not only on the shows I'm covering, but shows I should be covering maybe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So best way to find out what this is gonna be is just to start, right? So we got Spy Family. Alright, Spy Family Season 2. Didn't put Season 2 on the YouTube visual. Probably should have done that. I'll fix that for next episode. But Spy Family Season 2. Spy Family, of course, was it last season or season before? I think it was season before where we got season 1. Big hit. It was pretty much like we knew that was gonna happen. Spy Family is one of those mangas, so one of those shows. But season 1 kind of ended off with, if manga readers were paying attention, you'll know that it ended off with them like hinting at the dog, right? We don't have a name yet, so I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna try not to do any manga spoilers for anyone out there that isn't hasn't like read the manga, right? Because I have read it. I'm mostly caught up. I would say maybe like a dozen chapters behind, maybe, but that's really not too many in the grand scheme of things. So for this one, we got Lloyd is giving a dog to Anya as a stellar star reward, because you remember that Anya's friend Anya's friend was like, your parents should give you a reward for this, right? Like my parents do, like I don't know, she's like a pony or something, right? And she wanted a dog, and I really like that for Anya's character, because it just shows how innocent she is, but also like her upbringing, because you remember like she was an orphan, right? And no one really wanted her. It wasn't really that other people thought she was a freak, but she always kind of, and she still does, put this like energy out there that people will think she's a freak and people won't want her. Like the amount of times in any given episode where she will think about doing something that's related to her powers and then not do it because she thinks that Lloyd or Yor will again like think she's a freak and like disown her, which is the last thing she wants, right? She really wants to have a family. That's like her main goal in life is to just have a family. So I really like that she was like, I can ask for that, like I could do that. So yeah, but it's also like a family thing too, right? Where it's like kids, traditionally they always want pets, right? So it all makes sense. Further on, we have I'm covering the first 2 episodes as well. Just to be clear, I should probably say that. Episode 1 and 2. That's what we're doing today. One thing I really disliked was them using dog bombs. Really hated that. Forgot that happened because, again, I'm further on in the manga, and so I don't really remember the beginning of the manga too well, because it was, years ago at this point, right? A few years ago that I started reading it. So them started using dog bombs. Hated that idea immediately. Like, we know in media, whether it be anime or we got any other type of show, any movie, video games, you know what I mean, where it's like the dog lives. Humans can die, that sucks, that's sad, but the dogs, the pets, need to live. So with them basically using like kamikaze dogs as their evil plan, I'm like, these guys are the most evil people we have ever seen in any media. Like, this is just awful. Why would you do this? Especially some of the dogs that, I don't know about like sentience necessarily, but like their enhanced intelligence, like that makes it even worse. So that was really bad. Didn't like that. Very, very bad time. We have another moment where Yor actually loses Anya. That seems to happen more often than you'd like it to. But I love when it does happen, because that Yor's gonna come in at like the best moment to then just destroy stuff. And that's literally what she does, is that, she finds Anya, mistakes them for kidnapping her, which isn't really what happened. Anya kind of snuck out, but found them, and just that one dude, I'm pretty sure she killed him. Like, I'm almost positive that she killed that man. Like, she like kicked him, right? She kicked him so hard, and he like flew, he like spun, hit the wall. Like, oh, she committed murder, which again, she's not, what's the word I'm looking for? That's not something new for her. You know what I mean? Like, she is like the Thorn Princess or something. So she has killed people, many people, but like, for her to do that, I was like, oof, but like, she takes it very seriously, and she gets very passionate when it comes to Anya, because again, this whole dynamic they have, where it's like, Yor really believes that Anya is Lloyd's kid, and so she really believes the story that Lloyd has given her, and so she really is like herself. She's not really playing a role necessarily, as much as Lloyd is, because she's like, no, like, I really, like, in real life, I want to get married. It's all starting off with her not wanting to be outed from like the secret police or whatever, but also like herself, like, she kind of wants to be with somebody, and so for her, this is real, and so for her to lose Anya like that really hurts her. Lloyd I think is softening up, but he more so looks at this as a mission rather than Yor looking at this as like a family. Like, it is sort of a mask, like she's hiding that she's an assassin, but she really does want to be part of this family, because to her, she's the stepmom, right? She is sort of invading this this familial bond, I guess, between father and daughter, so she feels like she has to prove herself as a wife and a mother for this fake family. Some other stuff, the dog can see the future, so that's a big thing, right? Not quite outlandish, because we already have Anya, who can read minds, so like a dog that can see the future, we kind of just accept it, but we do see that these two, just from the first couple episodes, that these two are going to be a duo. These two together, not only because of their powers, but just like their personalities. This dog and Anya are probably going to cause some mischief. What else do we got? Anya saved Lloyd with ketchup on the door. So that's another thing too, where it's like, Anya has this fascination with spies, and it's funny because she's actually done some spy stuff. She's actually sort of becoming, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, whereas like, she literally, like, with the help of the dog, she was able to get to the place with the bomb, and able to, in her own like weird kid way, to like warn Lloyd that no, don't open this door. You will die, you know. And there's another moment of this first couple episodes that got really serious, where, you know, Anya looked into the dog and saw Lloyd gone, like saw her and Yor really, really sad, and Lloyd out of the picture. And it's like, whoa, like I think the dog just showed Anya her father's death. Like, that's really grim. But again, you know, she was able to save the day, you know. And it's really funny because Lloyd is supposed to be, you know, Lloyd is Twilight, right? Lloyd is supposed to be this, like, top of the line, number one spy, you know what I mean? And so for him to use his daughter's help without her maybe him even knowing is just so awesome, you know. And I really do hope we see more stuff like that. And then we have the little cliffhanger at the end where Lloyd, looks like Lloyd's about to shoot this dog, and we don't see it happen, we don't hear it happen. It's very much stopped, like right as, like, cause like the dog is flying at him to attack him, right? You know, that's one of their attack dogs, and he has the gun, and, you know, in his mind he's like apologizing to the dog, like, you know, you didn't choose this, you know, you just got wrapped up in dumb human antics, you know, like you don't deserve this. But the dog is gonna harm him, maybe even kill him. Like, he can't just sit there and take it, right? So I actually don't remember what happens in this. Like, I don't remember if he ends up shooting the dog or not, and if he doesn't, what happens, you know. Like, my prediction for this, if we want to get into that a little bit, is maybe where are Anya and the dog right now? Because I'm thinking, like, maybe the dog intervenes and, like, jumps in out of nowhere and, like, tackles the attack dog or something. I don't know what else could happen, right? Like, unless Lloyd puts a bullet in him, but that's really dark. You know. But we'll see, you know. You know, let me know what your predictions are for that. Yeah, I mean, just kind of recap the couple episodes. I think season 2 is starting off really good. You know, we have the dog coming in, hopefully going to be a part of the family, right? We're going to get into more antics with that. And probably pretty soon we're going to get back to the school, because that's really the main mission here, is getting Anya all of her Stella Stars. But yeah, I think starting off strong. Season 1 was really good. Season 2 starting off strong. We'll see where it goes, though, you know. So next, My Hero Academia Season 6. This is a show, let me just preface this, guys. My Hero was a show for me, because we're starting off Season 6 on this podcast. It started off really strong. Like, I feel like the first, like, 2 or 3 seasons were like, yo, this show might be, it might be one of the next big 3, right? Because we talk about the big 3 of, like, what's the big 3? Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, right? When it comes to Shonen Jump. So we're like, man, my Hero could be it. And for a while there, it looked like it. I'll be honest, though, for me, the last season or 2 have been kind of weak. Like, I've just kind of fallen off of My Hero, where it's like, I don't really care what's happening. I feel like stuff is dragging out, you know. Like, one of the best things about My Hero in the first few seasons was the pacing, you know. Like, I remember talking to Ray about this. Ray is one of my very good friends. If you have checked out any other of the content on the channel, you may have seen me and him do a podcast together. Good friend Ray. I remember him talking to me because he read the manga. I don't know if he's caught up in the manga, maybe. You know, while I was watching the show, and I remember us talking about the one season, whatever season it was, where there was the tournament arc, you know, with the school, and the pacing of that was commendable, because most other shows will take a whole season to do a tournament arc, because they're like, fans love tournament arcs, you know, and I will not deny that. I love me a good tournament arc. So it's like, you know, most shows will just drag it out for a whole season, because it's like, oh, we can get a full season out of this arc easy, you know. And like, even if the pacing is kind of slow in parts, fans won't care, because they love seeing fighting, they love seeing different characters that they've never seen before. that have different powers, and we like kind of kind of debating like, ooh, is he gonna win there? Gonna win there? What are his powers? Does he have a secret weapon? All that stuff. And My Hero didn't do that. My Hero took like maybe like a third of their season and did the tournament arc, and they did it in a way that it was very compelling. And it's like, wow, this is incredible. Like, most other shows I don't think could have pulled that off. Most other shows would have dragged it out and tried to make it fit a more like traditional time frame. But all of that is to say that I wasn't super excited to start season 6. I'm covering it now because it is popular, and because I do have hopes that this season is going to bring me back in, because last season especially, I just remember it like becoming a background show for me, where I was like, stuff's just kind of happening, I guess. Who cares? who really cares about this show? But yeah, just fixing this real quick. Yeah, so My Hero season 6, we got first 2 episodes here. So when the arc started, I think it was like the first episode, I had a question about like if this arc is going to be just a big war arc, because I feel like the way they're building this up is that like every hero we're starting to see like gathering, every villain we're seeing gathering. So it's like, is it going to be like an all-out war arc? It's similar to like Walking Dead. I don't know if anyone out there has watched Walking Dead or read Walking Dead. I haven't read the comic. I do want to read it though, because I hear it's like one of the best comics ever and way better than the show, which the show kind of fell off pretty hard, unfortunately. But in The Walking Dead, there was an arc. If you're watching it, season 5, I believe, season 5, season 6, was like all out war. And it was literally like everyone, like, oh, we're battling, whatever. So that's my question here. And it is, as we move on these first 2 episodes, it does kind of seem like it's going that way, where it's like big moves are happening. What else do we got? We got kind of reminded me that like Hawks is like an undercover agent. I forgot about that, because I remember him being a good guy, like the number 2 guy or something. And then I've seen him with villains, and it's like, oh, is he really a villain? But it's like, oh no, he's like a double agent. That's cool. Hawks is cool. I love how the students are expected to help the actual hero save the world, which is interesting. I mean, because like, I guess it's not that strange, because if you've watched Naruto, then it's like, okay, yeah, they are still students. Like, none of them, like, when they had to face like Orochimaru and like the Sound Village, they were all still in school. They were all still taking their tuning exams, so I guess it's not the craziest thing that we have something like this. But I do still think it's funny that they're all still in school, and they're like, okay, you're all gonna come with us, and we're all gonna fight the baddest bads we've ever seen, and you're gonna help. I'm just like, oh, okay. I like the whole doctor trap thing. That was cool, because I'm finding the doctor, it just felt too easy, and then him coming out and be like, oh no, they're underground, and I got all these what are they called? Nomus, right? We got all these things. So that was neat. Mirko is destroying all the Nomu, right? Mirko for me was the highlight of these first 2 episodes. I don't remember her too much from the first 5 seasons. I'm sure we've seen her before. I just don't remember. Because again, these seasons, they take forever to come out, and like I said, the last 2 seasons were kind of meh for me, so not too many memories there. But Mirko, man, Mirko was the MVP. She was killing it. She was destroying all the Nomu, and then even past that, like when the like big bad Nomu started to come in, she started to get messed up. But she was holding her own against all of them who had multiple quirks, and then she even killed the one. She like ripped its head off with her legs. And it's like, okay, let's not mess with Mirko anymore. She is not the one. But I did really like her. So yeah, and the highlight of first couple episodes is definitely seeing her. Watching these first 2 episodes, it was worth it just to see her fight and her just decimate. Even though she's really hurt right now, like I really hope that she doesn't die. That would suck. But we'll see. We'll see. We have some more little bit lore with these Nomu, that there are high ends and they're capable of independent thought, which I think is big, because most of the ones before them, like, they just kind of carry out orders, right? It's like, here's a simple order, here's a simple task, you do that, here we go. They're like Meeseeks, right? You can't complicate it too much or else their heads explode. But with these things, it's like, oh no, these are like real living creatures that like are formidable and they can like coordinate their attacks. They're not just like robots, right? So that's scary. And then another scary thing is that the doctor's making Shigaraki into a Nomu. That is very scary, because he's already pretty powerful with his quirk. So the fact that they're trying to make him just like physically stronger, but also give him multiple quirks, not okay. Like, we need to cut that off right at the bud. Nip that in the bud, right? We need to stop that, because we don't need anyone in, like, what is the League of Villains or whatever. We don't need anyone there to be more powerful. All right, they're villains. We don't need the difficulty. We're the good guys. We gotta win. And then Kaminari was freaking out, but he mobilized one of their leaders. Yeah. So Kaminari, that was kind of a through line for the first couple episodes, is that he really wanted to help, but he was also kind of freaking out because he wasn't with any of his friends. Everyone else was in the other side of the formation, and he was very much doubting himself of like his own powers, and like he's not like, I'm not on these guys' levels. I'm not a real hero. I'm not. All I can do is like shock people. That's all I can do. But he had a nice pep talk. He's fighting for the one girl, like the headphone things. I don't know if that's like a thing, if they're like together or something. If they are, again, don't remember it. And then he kind of turned up, which I like. That's always what you want to see in shonen, is like people who are underdogs finding the will to fight, in a very organic and natural way, right? And that's what he did. And then again, he was able to like absorb all the electrical energy of the one villain and immobilize him and say like, nope, you're not doing anything. That he is literally the I don't know, I guess the answer to the villain's powers, completely immobilized. So it's like, yeah, you not only were you helpful, but you were like super helpful to like take out one of their best right now, to help all the other villains move on past that, not have to worry about it, and move on to the next phase of the plan. Like, it's perfect, So yeah, that was the first couple episodes of My Hero. Again, we had some good stuff there. I'm not fully in yet. I'll only see more Mirko, and if they are doing an all-out war thing, we want to see more characters. I think that's a big thing. Especially again comparing it to Naruto, I guess that was one of the letdowns of Naruto, was that like Chunin exams introduced so many cool ninja, and then we just never really saw them again. Like, we just kind of saw them here and there sometimes. It's like, no, like there's this whole world, and that's also apparent with another show, Ruby. Ruby's the same way, where it's like, what, season 2 or something, season 3 was like, there's all these other characters with different semblances, and we have this sort of tournament arc, and then never see him again. And it's like, what? Why would we not? You have all these people. It's crazy. So that's kind of what I hope for My Hero as well. I mean, Class 1A has a lot of diversity there, so it's cool that there's a lot of characters that we do see. But what about other classes? You know what I mean? Especially with that the other tournament arc that we saw with all the different classes fighting each other. I want to see more of that too. So yeah, My Hero, pretty okay start. But I'm definitely a little hesitant to be all the way in. So next, Mob Psycho 103. Got season 3 here. So we're covering the first episode here. First couple seasons I enjoyed. I've never been the biggest Mob Psycho fan. I know a lot of people who watch the show are like, this is the best show ever made. I think it's very good. Um, I literally just caught up on season 2 very recently because I knew season 3 was coming out, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to watch that. So, first couple seasons, very, very good. So season 3, again, only one episode, not too much to talk about because I don't feel like a lot even happened in the first episode. So hopefully the next couple ones I got more to talk about for y'all. But just kind of a few points here. I do like how the psychic stuff is always juxtaposed by Mob's regular school life. I think that's been true really for the whole show. But, they even showed a lot here where he's taken down a spirit, right? He's taking out a spirit, and then in the next scene he's like working on his homework, like writing an essay, or a big thing here was that he was tasked, just like every other student, to do the whole like career planning thing, which is like a big thing. I know it's like a big thing in at least anime. I don't know if it's true in like actual Japan schools as well, but that was a big thing in anime. Is like you always felt like the career planning sheet, like, are you gonna go to university or are you gonna take a job? So yeah, a lot of planning there. And so like Mob, so it's just funny of like, here's his real life, or his like normal civilian life mixing with his crazy powerful spirit life. Especially after the end of season 2, which was very tough for him. Reagan has these weird techniques that are just normal, which I love. It's always like it's again, I'm gonna use Naruto again. Because in like Naruto, they like call out their moves, which is mainly for the audience. I feel like, and if it was real life, you wouldn't call it the move you're gonna use, because then if your opponent has heard of it, then they're like, oh wait, I kind of know what this is. I kind of know what's coming. But he kind of does that too, but it's like with super normal stuff, like him using the like grain of like sticky rice to like stick the two things together again. It's just funny. I mean, it's just a part of his character, because Reagan doesn't have psychic powers like Mob does, so it's funny whenever he does go all out and he does do something helpful, but it's like just a super normal like everyday man thing. So that's always fun. And then just kind of a thought, I do feel like Mob looks up to Rain way too much. I get it because of where they started out, right? With him coming in and thinking that Reagan was an actual psychic, and then wanting to like train him. And I feel like so far, while we can clearly see that Reagan has been using him, Reagan has had little nuggets of wisdom. And you especially in season 2, you realize how much Reagan really does care for Mob. Like it started out as him using him to make his business legitimate, but it's turned into a real like fatherly type role almost. Again, Mob has a father, but like for Reagan, on Reagan's end, it's like, I don't know, maybe father's wrong, but mentor, I'll say, and so that sort of like innocent relationship, I think, is one of the best parts of the show. Although I do feel like Mob still looks up to him. Although in the end of season 2, Mob does kind of insinuate that he knows that Reagan does not have psychic powers, and he never has. But that to me isn't really important to the relationship, because I feel like it doesn't matter. I feel like if Mob still feels like the relationship, if he still gains something from it, instead of being taken advantage of, I feel like it doesn't matter if Reagan has powers or not, because Reagan has done a lot of really good stuff. So yeah, I don't really think it matters too much. I think it did when Reagan was sort of using him, like calling upon him at any given day or night. And it's like, but I feel like if we've gotten past that, and it is, because again, Reagan did kind of promote him, I guess. It's like senior, whatever. So yeah. Looks up to him too much, but the whole leech parasite aspect of the relationship, I feel like has been dissolved. So that's good. And yeah, that's the first episode of Mob Psycho 100. Like I said, not too much really happened, more of just recapping season 2 for you, and we're kind of starting fresh. We don't, there's no real hint, to me at least, what's going to happen in this season. We do have that new employee there, so I'm sure he's going to play a part in this stuff, but yeah, nothing. Cat's not really out of the bag yet, so we'll see where this takes us. Again, first 2 seasons are really good, so I expect nothing less from this season. Next, we got a pretty anticipated show, pretty highly anticipated one here, Blue Lock. Blue Lock is the soccer show, and for me, sports anime are always tough to get into. For pretty much my whole anime watching life, sports genre was always the genre that I avoided, just because I was like, it's just a sports show, like whatever, who cares? Not that I don't like sports, but I was just like, how good is this going to be? I'm just going to watch an anime about people playing sports. Ridiculous. What a ridiculous concept. But, I have watched a couple since then, Haikyuu being the biggest one. If you watch any other content on this channel, you'll know. Love Haikyuu. Love it so much. Probably a top 10 anime for me. So with that, it's like another angle in which it's hard for me to get into sports anime, because I'm like, well, nothing's gonna live up to Haikyuu. Like nothing can possibly live up to this show. So it's like, well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But with Blue Lock, I felt like giving it a shot because the premise of it is ridiculous, right? So if we get into it a little bit, I do like that the show starts off with a loss. That's always one of the things I feel like is important in sports anime, is showing the main character losing, because I feel like if the main character wins everything, it's not fun. There are other shows out there where that happens, but it's not sports anime. Like if you look at One Punch Man, where Saitama, where Saitama just wins every fight, that's okay, because that's like the like gag of the show. That is the shtick, is that he wins everything and they make it comedic. I feel like if there was a sports anime where they just win every time, it's gonna be like, okay, well, I guess maybe like watching the matches are fun, but we know they're gonna win, so who cares? So with Blue Lock starting off with a loss, it's like, ooh, and also it's kind of a really easy way for the main character to immediately be an underdog, which is, again, a very important aspect to sports anime. But we get into what the actual show is, which is there are 300 strikers and this Blue Lock thing. And that right there, we're just going to hard stop there. That's ridiculous. 300 people they're going to have to go through. I imagine we're not going to get to know and love all 300 characters. That's a lot of characters. But that right there is already setting kind of like the stakes, right? Where it's like there's 300 of you. That's a lot of you, but a lot of opportunity to prove yourself. And we're hopefully going to see a lot of variety in styles and, obviously personalities and stuff. But, I really hope to see different, get real sports anime with it, because again, I love Haikyuu, which is a volleyball anime. Everyone should go watch it. It's incredible. But also probably my second favorite sports anime is Kuroko's basketball, right? So obviously basketball anime, and in both of those they get very anime. I'll say that Kuroko's basketball gets a little more ridiculous, with them having powers, and they don't really have powers in Kuroko's basketball, but they kind of do, and then in Haikyuu it's a little more grounded, where no one really has powers, but they do have specialties, I guess. Yeah, so that, so that'd be kind of cool to see in Blue Lock as well. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it. If we jump ahead a little bit, I am covering the first 2 episodes. I think I forgot to say that. First 2 episodes. If we jump ahead a little bit, we have Bakira. I think it's Bakira, or it might be. It's probably not Bachira. It's probably Bakira, if I remember. He talks about having a monster inside of him. And it legitimately is. It legitimately is. I mean, it could just be like a metaphor for his like hunger, right? But then you look at it and you see that Isagi also has somewhat of a monster inside of him. So again, it's gonna be really interesting because this show, again, we're just jumping ahead now, but this the episode 2 does end with the guy freaking spectacles. You know who he reminds me of? The the test administrator or whatever, the like head of Blue Lock. He reminds me of Vector from Despicable Me. If anyone has never, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go look up Vector Despicable Me. He's from the first movie. This dude reminds me of him so much, in like appearance, but also kind of like personality. But anyway, yeah, it does end with them being like, okay, you're all gonna form teams and you're gonna compete, which is crazy because they all play the same position, like they're all forwards, right? So it's like, what forward is gonna play goalie, Again, not saying that they don't have the skills and the athleticism and the IQ, but like it's not their position, Like in football, if it was like, okay, you're all quarterbacks, it's like wait, that doesn't make any sense, Some quarterbacks can catch and run and stuff like that and maybe tackle, but like that's not their position. They're not going to be that good, and especially with something like this where the whole goal of it, or at least what Vector is, I'm just going to call him Vector because I don't remember his real name. What Vector is saying is ego's the biggest thing. So it's like all of them want to play forward in their scrimmages, but they all can't play forward. You know what I mean? That's not how that works. Someone has to play goalie. Someone has to. I'll be honest, guys. I don't know their positions of soccer. Forward and goalie is all I know. I know there's other ones. Keeper, is that a position? Probably not. It's probably like a Quidditch position. You got the brawlers. I don't think brawlers won either. But yeah, so that's crazy. But just to kind of back up a little bit because I got ahead of myself. Let's see, what stuff didn't I talk about yet? Oh yeah, and then basically the other big thing is their first test, right? Which I think was episode 1, where they're playing tag essentially, and it did seem like some of this was like weird, like Hunger Games, like Saw type scenario, but the way that Vector explained it, he was like, oh no, this is like a legitimate way for me to test how good you are at this. And he like broke it down, like all the size of the room that you're in matches the size of the scoring field, and if you're the one that's chasing, then you gotta have this in mind. If you're the one that's running, you have this in mind. And you had 1 second left, and if you took that 1 second like you're supposed to be the ultimate egoist, then you could have kicked it back at one of them. But like the way he broke it down, it was just like, oh, we're gonna get into the weeds of soccer in this show, and I'm very excited for it because I think that's one of my favorite parts about sports anime, is that me myself, I'm not like super into sports. When I was younger, very much into basketball, a little bit into football, a little bit into baseball, mostly basketball, but like now I don't really play sports. I watch sports very loosely, but I don't play sports, but like especially watching a sports anime of a sport that I don't know about, and then like getting really into the like technical aspects and like the like strategies and stuff. Like again, if we talk about Haikyuu, because Haikyuu is a show I've seen all of so far, it's volleyball, right? Volleyball to me was always just like a like gym class sport where it's like, this isn't like a real sport, you know what I mean? It's not like basketball, football, baseball, soccer, any of that stuff. It's just a gym class sport. But then when you watch Haikyuu and they get into like different positions, different strategies, different formations and like audibles and stuff like that, it's like, whoa, like this sport is kind of crazy, And so I really hope they do that with Blue Lock as well, and they get into like real like technical aspects of it. I can't wait. And then just a small thing, like, yeah, we did have Kira lose. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kira again. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know, if they have like a secret chamber with all the losers that are training or something, or even if it's like a weird like, I don't know, like Survivor, like reality show type thing where it's like, oh, guess what? This week we're picking 10 losers who are gonna come back for vengeance or something, right? If they do something like that, because I feel like that was a very intense exchange for us to just never see Kira again, or maybe we'll see him again when he plays for another team, like another country or something. That's pretty much the whole show. I didn't really touch on, there's the ranking system. You're at the bottom, you get worse equipment and food, so you got to kind of rank up. This is gonna be really cool. I think these first couple episodes really are very strong. They make a very strong case as to why you should be keeping an eye on this show. And I really hope it has legs. I really hope it doesn't just falter out and it kind of like crumbles under its own weight. I really hope this show shines this season. That's a good one. Next, we got the Eminence in Shadow. All right, so Eminence in Shadow. This was, I believe, one of the shows that I was very hesitant about because this is, I believe, our first Isekai. Our first Isekai of the season, at least that we're covering, right? Because Spy Family, no. My Hero, no. Mob Psycho, no. Blue Lock, no. So Eminence in Shadow is is not another Isekai's first Isekai. It is a reverse Isekai, though, I believe, because, so basically what the show is, to my understanding, is that Kageno was in like a fantasy type world with magic and stuff, and then he died and was reborn into a normal world, the world that we understand, and now he's like the assassin or something guy, and he's like trying to live up to what he used to be. I'm gonna get into it. We're gonna get into more details, but that to me right there, we got an Isekai. Even though it's a reverse Isekai, I believe. First Isekai, so that's exciting. So we have Kageno. He kept getting Akane's name wrong, which was just kind of funny. But it's a nice moment because later on at the end of the first episode, he gets it right. And it's like, oh, he like learned, and it's like a full circle, and it's nice. But I do like the way they introduced the show with Kageno being super like mysterious and secretive. It's like, what's up with him? Like something is up with him. We're always seeing him, like we see him carrying like super heavy bags. We see him like using the like hand cruncher thing in class. We see him reading some crazy chemistry science stuff. It's like, what is our main character's deal? Like, what is happening here? He's like playing the piano after school just for no reason. Like, what is he? Like what is happening? But then we learn that he is the stylish thug slayer. So that's something. Apparently he just goes around. He's like a vigilante of sorts. He's been taking down biker gangs single-handedly. No guns, only bars. And then, that was really nice. Him like saving Akane, her not knowing it was him, and Kageno just kind of going off, destroying stuff. He even get back to like the ex-vet, like military vet, again with just the bars and just the fight scene was incredible. I can't really explain it, but like it was great. And then it all ends with a couple things. One, him trying to like match an Eminence in Shadow, which we don't really know what that is, but you just kind of hear about it. Okay, I guess that's like a goal, is like a status, or is that like a person he's trying to duel? Is he Sasuke and he's trying to live up to try to be strong enough to kill Itachi? Like I don't quite understand. And then he dies. He gets hit by a truck. And that right there, guys, I'm very interested to know like what you guys thought when you watched it. I'm watching the first couple episodes. I always forget to say what episode I'm covering before I get into it. First 2 episodes. I'm very interested to see what you guys thought when you saw that, because for me, I was just like, wait, he died? And then I was thinking, okay, well, he's got to be the main character, right? Like, there's no way he's not. So did he fake his death? You know what I mean? Like is that what he does? Like part of him being the like stylish thug slayer. Does he like fake his death and like go around the country or whatever, like doing this stuff, But I'm not really sure. I was very surprised by that, but then we kind of get into like the second episode, which is more like the fantasy stuff. So, that's where I'm getting more confused about this. And I'm kind of gonna, I kind of want to go through it, and then I'm gonna ask some questions. There was apparently a time where I guess he was maybe the Eminence in Shadow, and he kind of mastered everything that there was to do. Like he was the ultimate dude, and so my understanding was that he was like, to prove how, I don't even know how much of a master I am, I guess, I'm going to be reborn into a normal world, and I'm going to reach the level I'm at now in a normal world. and that's going to prove how much of a master I am. That's like, hey, I can do this anywhere. This is who I am. And so, like, I guess that was the thing, which is why I'm saying it's a reverse isekai, because I guess he used to be in this fantasy world, now he's in the new world. But then I'm really confused, because then episode 2 is him all in the fantasy world. Where he like there's a blob that he gets transformed into a naked elf girl, which is like cool. I guess that's a thing, and like she's actually like really dope. Like, okay, cool. And then we see him as a kid, and he's like he's apparently a lot stronger than he really lets on. We have that moment where he's fighting his sister, and in the middle of like a sword duel, and it like pauses, and he goes into like detective vision mode, like ghost mode. When Doctor Strange, like when Doctor Strange, like his like spirit body leaves his real body. It's kind of what happens here, and he like acts out what his next moves would be, how you like dodge it and like cross, and then like get her right in the neck, and then it comes back to like the real body, and he gets hit and he gets thrown into the lake, and and right there, even like his sister, like starts to like almost like reach for her neck afterwards, like she feels something, and like right there, I to my understanding, that's a show, that's just being shown that he is actually really dope right now, but he doesn't want to show it, like he kind of wants to just be seen. He wants to be underestimated, I guess. That's kind of how his whole thing works. And then yeah, we just see more of this world, which is really cool. Like, we have the Shadow Garden, which is like his crew of just like elite, just elite like fighters and assassins. Like watching them just roll up, 7 of them just take out the entire place. It's like, okay, all right, cool. And then it ends with like the Shadow 7, like his people are leaving him, and he's very shocked by that. I don't really know what that means, because again, I have a couple questions, right? So like with all that really cool stuff that I just explained, I guess we'll start with them leaving. Why are they leaving? You know what I mean? Like, is it like we've outgrown you, or I mean, it doesn't feel like it's gonna be out of malice. I mean, it kind of looks like it's more so just gonna be, you've taught us well, now we must go on and we must teach our own disciples, like that sort of thing. I feel like that might be where it's going. I'm gonna be really sad though if they leave, because it's like, I feel like we just got to know them, and now it's like we don't know them now. It's so sad. But I really just want to ask, like, where is he from? Is this so? Because he died, right? So like, that's almost making me think like, oh, he died in the real world and now he's reincarnated in the fantasy world. That doesn't make any sense. I feel like the timing of all this, the like order of events, is kind of mixed up on purpose to confuse us. Maybe it's just confusing to me, and I'm just an idiot. I would love if someone out there would explain it to me, Because, like, my understanding right now, as I understand it, is we're seeing him now kind of grow up to be what he was, right? It's like we saw him in the real world after he died in the fantasy world, but now in episode 2 it's a prequel where it's like, okay, now we're going to show you where he was training, and now he built the Eminence of Shadow and all that stuff. I think that's probably what's happening. But so I'm interested to see like what the show is then. Like, is the show mostly just in the fantasy world? Because I feel like that's such like an opposite way to do an isekai. Usually you die in the real world, you get reincarnated, and then the show's in the fantasy world. But in this one, he died in the fantasy world, reincarnated into the real world, then died in the real world, and now it's a prequel back to when he was in the fantasy world. Wild. But yeah, that was that show. Those are my thoughts on that show. The Eminence in Shadow. I feel like it's pretty good so far. It is one of those isekai that I think I am warming up to, because again, isekai for me, kind of the whole reason behind the name of this podcast is, isekai have grown so popular and so frequent, and it's like, okay, there's so many of them that are just garbage, because they're all just like, we're going to ride in the coattails of just being an isekai, and we're not really going to put too much effort into the story, because the fact that it's an isekai, and we're going to make the character super powerful, there's going to be sort of cool fight scenes, and that's going to be enough to have a successful season. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess so. But every so often an isekai comes out that actually grabs my attention, and it's like, oh, this is kind of different, this could be kind of cool. And I feel like right now the Eminence in Shadow is that. So again, I really hope that it has legs, and I really hope that it just shows that it can be a standout. But we will see. Next, we have More Than a Married Couple, But Not Lovers, period. And, okay, so this one we're covering just the first episode, just episode 1. Apparently it was like a late airing anime. I was gonna try to get 2 episodes in, but only 1 episode available as of the time of recording this. This is a show, just to, I want to be completely transparent all the time. This is a manga adaptation that I have read. Again, not like fully caught up in it, but more than enough that I probably know everything that happens in the first season. So again, just want to let you know about that. This is one that I was actually like really shocked by, because I'm not like a super avid manga reader. Again, I'm gonna bring up Ray again. He's kind of the one that just like feeds me all the manga recommendations. So this is really like one of the first times, if not the first time, that a manga that I was super into got a manga adaptation, or got an anime adaptation. Because this is actually one that Ray didn't recommend me, and one that I just kind of found, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of neat. Something I'm into. I'm super into like the rom-com type stuff, so made sense for me to watch. It was kind of my own thing, it felt nice to just stumble upon this and be like, wait, this is getting an adaptation. But yeah, so just kind of talk about some stuff that I liked. Akari and Jiro are paired for the mock marriage, so that's it's a wacky circumstance, right? We have the like Gyaru, right, with the freaking neat. And they're paired together, but already, guys, again, 1 episode in, they waste no time. Even if you weren't an experienced rom-com anime watcher, just from the first episode, it's like, oh, these two are gonna get together, like, so clearly. Like, we know that Akari likes the guy. I didn't write his name down because who cares. And we know that Jiro likes Shiori. We know this, but just from the first episode, there's so many moments where it's like, oh, why do I feel this way? It's so funny. It's so good. It's so classic, like rom-com anime. We even have the moment where Jiro kissed Akari on the lips, and she's like, oh, I didn't say it was on the lips. It's so good, dude. It's so good. It's crazy to ask high schoolers to be a married couple. Which yeah, I just wrote down because it's like, could you imagine in like school, like in high school, in like senior year of high school, it was like, hey, there's this program that the school does where we're just gonna match two of you randomly together, and you're gonna live together, and you have to act like a married couple to like prove that you can be a functioning member of society. It's like, what? Like I couldn't imagine that I couldn't imagine doing that in college, let alone in high school. Like, could you imagine seeing, like, I don't know, man, that's just crazy to me. That's wild. I mean, even for a show, it's like, wow, high school, or like people who are like 17, 18, just like, and again, not saying 17 and 18-year-olds aren't in relationships and don't eventually go on to be together for, be a couple for the next 60 years of their life. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, and but like, I mean, especially random people too. You know what I mean? Because like, they're like, oh, but this is important and this is essential and this is, but it's like, yeah, but this isn't quite accurate though, because in real life you pick your partner. Again, it doesn't always work out. You know what I mean? Sometimes you pick your partner and then 6 months later you're like, oh, I hate this person. But like, you still get to pick, like, I know there are other cultures out there that used to, and maybe some still do. I don't really know the specific ones, but I've heard of other cultures who do have like arranged marriages and stuff. So that's separate, obviously. But like, again, as an American, watching the show, I'm just like, I couldn't imagine. We have a nice sweet moment where Shiori asked Jiro to use her first name, but he couldn't. That to me, man, again, there's one of my least favorite things, while simultaneously being one of my favorite things in rom-com anime, is those moments where you're just like yelling at the character of like, just do it. What are you doing? It's so simple, and with this moment, I'm just like yelling at Jiro, like, just call her name. Just use her first name. And again, it's different because I know in like Japan and maybe other countries, you use the family name when you address people. You use the given name when you're really close to that person. So if it's like, if you're like really good friends with somebody, so like, my friend Ray, like, I would call him Ray. I wouldn't use his last name. I wouldn't call him by his last name. Maybe when I first met him, I would. But then, once we become friends and we're hanging out and all that stuff, start using Ray, and he starts calling me by Tyler. You know what I mean? But even in this moment, it's like, they're also like childhood best friends. Like, that's the whole thing here, is that they're best friends. And even Shiori's like, I hate that. Why don't you call me by my first name, like, like you used to? And it's like, oh, dude, you're messing up. Like, this is such a slam dunk too, because he wants to be with her, and it's like, so then call her by her first name. There'll be so many brownie points here. Like, she wants you to, you know what I mean? It's not this awkward thing where you're like, oh, I think I might do it, and see what her reaction is. She's literally asking you to do this thing, and you're just like, oh, you can't. Like, oh, what are you doing, man? You're losing it. And then let's see, and then I just wrote down that they're so clearly falling for each other. Like, it's so clear, you know what I mean? And listen, man, I'm not gonna spoil things, but I feel like where this show's going. There's so many more moments like this, and as they go on, you're just like, just get together already, like, what are you doing? Just accept it. But yeah, that was the first episode. Again, I really enjoy this manga. It's not one that I'm like recommending. I said that word wrong. Recommending left and right. But it is that one where it's like, hey, if you're a fan of rom-com stuff and you want another one of these, here you go. It's pretty entertaining. That's all. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. If how fast or slow they move with this, and yeah, it's a fun time. So let's move on to Chainsaw Man, probably one of the most anticipated shows in years. You know what I mean? Like, Chainsaw Man has so much hype around it. It's ridiculous. Like, it's already like, the expectations are already anime of the year at the very least. you know. So covering episode 1 with this one. And another, disclaimer, I have read the entire manga of this. I'm actually not caught up in part 2, but I have read the entirety of part 1, so I'm coasting, But like I said, no spoilers, especially with this one, because I know a lot of people are watching this for the first time, because it is very anticipated. So let's just talk about a little bit. Basically the premise of the show is that Denji is paying off his dead father's debt to the Yakuza. That's really sad. I forgot about that. That really sucks. And, that was making me pretty upset too. So I was just like, man, I guess I understand how that would work, but I'm just so mad at like, hey, your dad owed us money, so now you, a child, are like responsible for it. It's like, I didn't have anything to do with that. What are you coming after me for? I'm just a person, Like it's ridiculous. 700,000 also isn't that much, honestly. I mean, it is a lot. I mean, let me tell you. So 700,000 yen. If they were going by yen, think about it. Is it yen? I don't know. 700,000 is like $7,000. Which, granted, a lot of money. I would love it if someone would give me $7,000 right now. But to be like, you're now indentured to us is like, okay, all right. Like 7 million, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I understand that a lot more. For you to be like, your pops owed us $7,000, it's like, okay, all right. But yeah, so that's the whole thing there. Made a note here that Pochita is the best. Love him with all my heart. Definitely gonna sell that merch with this little chainsaw puppy. Further down the line we have Denji just like getting jumped by a bunch of zombie demons. It's like, what are we doing here, man? You're just killing us. You hate devil hunters. Yeah, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy coughing up blood, eating half a slice of bread for dinner. I'm not a danger to you. You gotta get jumped. Like, come on. But the turning point and really the start of the show is when Denji dies and Pochita merges with him, basically, saves his life. And now we got the man, the myth, the legend, Chainsaw Man, who is a devil, but also a devil hunter. So that is where the interesting aspect of the show comes from, because that's just not a real thing. We have devils and devil hunters, and they are always at odds. We don't have one that's the same. That's both, So yeah, I mean the fight scene here was great. Him just tearing the devils up, left and right. He's got chainsaws for arms and for a head. He just like skewered the main zombie devil thing. So yeah, that was awesome. And then we have Makima, which is a very highly anticipated character. Love to see me some Makima. Not going to spoil anything about her character, obviously, but man, Makima, man, I'm telling you, man, this is where the show starts, right here. Episode 2 is where it's about to get nuts. But yeah, and she just kind of comes in and she's like, oh, I'm a devil hunter, so I see that you're a devil and a human, so I'm either going to kill you like a devil, or I'm going to bring you in like a human, or whatever. Basically going to like take him into custody in her own personal custody, I guess. And God, I mean, I can't wait to see it, because again, I don't want to spoil anything, and I feel like not too much happened in this episode, honestly, in like the grand scheme of things. Like, we did have the whole debt thing, we had Denji being sick possibly, we had him dying, becoming Chainsaw Man, so like a lot happened, but not a lot happened. Again, if you read the manga, you I'm sure you completely agree with me, where it's like the manga hasn't even the show hasn't even started yet. You know what I mean? Like this pretty much is just like prologue, But yeah, and it's just all like there's still so many more dope characters that are gonna be introduced. But yeah, and then one of my favorite moments of the whole episode was at the very end, where all Denji cares about is food. because Makima's like, I'll make sure you have a place to stay, I'll make sure you have food to eat and whatever, and he's like, what's for breakfast? And she's like, I don't know, like bread with jam and coffee and eggs or something, and he's like, that sounds good. He's just like, he's like super exhausted, like probably hurt, injured, fatigued, and he's just like, man, I can't wait for some food. Because you remember, like, earlier on, he was like, man, I'm over here dreaming of jam on toast. Because all he eats is bread. So he's like, man, wouldn't it be nice to put jam on the bread? It's like, all right, Denji, you gotta, your aspirations have to be just a little bit higher, please. please dream bigger. But yeah, man, that was the episode. Again, a very, very solid first episode. I was just smiling the whole time because, again, this is another manga that I read, and I was just so happy when it got an anime adaptation, because I remember reading the whole manga, and it's like, this is incredible. Like, I remember binging the manga. Like, I normally don't really like binge manga like that. Like, I normally kind of like dip in and out slowly, and I normally like cycle through a bunch of manga at the same time, But with Chainsaw Man, I just burned through that. I'm like, this is an incredible story, So I can't wait to see it animated, and I can't wait for everyone out there to experience it for the first time as well. So, yeah, having a good time. Next, Reincarnated as a Sword, episodes 1 through 3. Okay, let's get ready for this. This is Not Another Isekai's second Isekai of the season. This one is more of a true Isekai, because this is all about a man who died and got reincarnated as a sword. This show, for me, I'm obviously going to go through it and stuff, talk about some of the highlights for me of this, but the overall hook for this show, and again, this is one that I'm really scared is not going to have legs. Like, out of all the shows I've talked about so far, and I still have 2 more after this, this is the one where I'm the most afraid that I'm going to end up dropping it. But if it can keep up what it's been doing, I think it'll be a fairly solid show, because one of my favorite parts of the show in general is that I feel like it knows it's an isekai, and it knows the baggage that comes with that and how ridiculous these types of shows are, because like one of my favorite parts was at the very beginning when it's like narration and he's talking about him being reborn as something else, and he goes into, wait, I got reborn as a cat girl, and the cat girl kind of looks over and it's like, no, I got reborn as a sword. And it's kind of like the show kind of making fun of isekai, where it's like, other isekai that take it very seriously, and this is just like, I'm a cat girl? No, I'm a sword. So like that right there, when I saw that, I was like, okay, we're kind of, being a little funny here, you got jokes, okay. So yeah, so kind of just go through the show a little bit. I like that he's a sword, and he just like rips through stuff. Like the whole beginning was him just leveling up and getting the crystals and whatever. I will say that it got a little boring there for a little bit, because it was just like enemy after enemy after enemy, and I was like, oh man, we're still just watching the sword fight enemies, huh? Like, I get it, I get why they're showing it, because they're trying to, 1, show the ridiculousness of it, that he's flying around, but 2, kind of almost like earn it, the sword being overpowerful. So I get it, but I was like, I feel like we could have truncated this a little bit, because there was a point in that where I kind of got bored, and I started to look at my phone. I was like, alright, he's still fighting stuff, alright, we get it. But then it kind of moved on, and it got better, because then he met Fran, and Fran's story, I think, is way more interesting. Like, even though technically the sword is the main character, I don't care at all about the sword. I care way more about Fran, and like, her being discriminated against so much in these first 3 episodes. I was like, why all the hate? Like, what? Like, I don't know. That's like a much more serious conversation that's like outside of this podcast about like discrimination that we don't have to get into. But like, why? Like what does it matter to you? Just like leave other people alone, you know? Why do we care so much? Like her being like a slave, and then her breaking out of that with the help of the sword, which is now named Teacher. With the help of Teacher, and just like destroying the like two-headed beast thing, and it was just so cool. The sword being very scary. Like broke that man's neck and then burnt the contract. I was like, whoa, he deserved it, but whoa. I was not expecting the sword to use telekinesis to break the man's neck. Jeez, that was like almost a jump scare where the neck twisted, and I was like, oh, oh no. And then what do we got? And then we have the best part of the first 3 episodes, I think, was the second episode where they were at the Adventurers Guild. Loved it, right? I love Nell, right? She has very real thoughts, very, very honest thoughts, especially towards those mercenaries. And then we even have the like fight with the Oni, so we had a pretty dope fight sequence. And I just love how Fran won. And there's a really interesting relationship that Fran and Teacher have, where like Teacher is the OP one. Even though we've learned that he's kind of not OP, or like we see other swords that have more power than him and more like abilities and stuff. But then we used to look at Fran. It's like, oh no, Fran is actually like the key to this. Because she absorbs knowledge so quickly, and like she's able to adapt and like mix powers and techniques and stuff. It's ridiculous, and like that's really why she was able to win at the end, because she's very capable herself, because like I feel like the show was very quickly setting up like, oh, there's gonna be just like this innocent little naive cat girl that's the teacher is going to have to kind of carry the weight. And it's like, oh no, this is much more like even balanced relationship than I think we thought it was going to be, which I think makes all this possible, because I think if Sword was doing all the work, honestly probably wouldn't have beaten Oni, so that was really cool. We have and we have this scene, right, where the mercenaries try to get up on her, and she's just like, no. And then even Nell jumped in, and she maybe spoke a little bit too much of her mind, not great customer service there, but who cares, right? Like she was right in everything she said. And even there, it was like, you do not want to get on Nell's bad side. And I love that Fran and Nell have this like relationship now. It's awesome. And then we have what's her name again? Fran just going off. Fran used her powers to like cut off those man's legs. And then used like the vibration blitz or something to just wash the other 3 mercenaries. And even Teacher was like, "Jeez, you really took that into your own hands, huh?" Because even Teacher was like, "Wait, I didn't do that." And Fran's like, "I did, I did that." Oh no, And then even Nell at the back was like, "Oh no, to me that was self-defense. Oh, and also was it not only self-defense? You owe 100,000 gold for damages. You're not gonna leave here or get any medical attention until you pay up." And it's like, all right, now we're gonna leave now. We don't want to be here when you're heated like this. Scare me a little bit now. So like that episode was my favorite. I think episode 2. And then episode 3 we get some interesting stuff here, right? Where we have 2 big things with the blacksmith who has the god eye, and for a second we're like, he might be trouble, but then it's like, no, he's just curious, and he actually helps like give some advice onto stuff and like say, well, according to my years and years and years of experience, here's all your sword stats, like how I see them. And it's like, oh wow, Teacher's actually way stronger than he thought he was. It's like, okay, cool, that's cool. And also gives them some advice on like how to level up properly and all that. And then the other big thing is that, right, they They save a crew from some goblins. Crew seems nice. Fran and teacher are trying to be very humble about everything. And then more goblins, and then it ends with like this goblin army. It's just it's just funny because like I don't know how much the goblins are just a force to be reckoned with, and then how much it is where it's like, oh well, when teacher first got here, he was schooling the goblins, so it's like there's a little bit of a blood feud there as well. you know so, so that's funny. But yeah, I mean, that was Reincarnated as a Sword. Like I said, it's an isekai. There are some parts of this show that are a little slow for me, a little like, okay, we've seen this before, come on, we gotta spice it up. But then there are other parts of this that I think are really cool. I think the driving force with Fran's story about being a black cat and wanting to evolve, I think if they really lean heavy into that, and again, just write a good story. It doesn't have to be the best story ever, but just write a solid story and make Fran and teacher's relationship constantly entertaining, I'll say, whether it's happy or sad or whatever, like, whatever emotions and whatever things they get into, like we have, like, that's important, right? Like, everything else aside of that can be sort of generic. Like, it's okay, it's okay that they're fighting goblins, it's okay that they're somewhat overpowered. That's fine. We just have to have the source, the anchor of this story be solid, and that's all it needs to be. That's all it needs to be, and then we can walk away from this being like, you know what, that was a fun show. So yeah, I mean, in terms of predictions, I don't really know. I guess like a goblin army's about to fight them. I don't really think goblins have anything to do, or any real sort of chance against Fran and teacher, the unstoppable duo. But we'll see. We'll see what we have cooking up. Because again, I don't really know what the show is. Like, is it just Is it just the adventures of Fran? It is 3 episodes, but but I feel like they really have to show us like what is the goal. Like, it is just get stronger and stronger until Fran evolves. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But yeah. So next we have Do It Yourself. This fun little show. This is a show that I don't really know how much of a standout it's going to be, but I don't really think it has to be, because for me, this is just, from my understanding of the first 2 episodes, it's just going to kind of be a fun little slice of life show. And again, for shows like that, all it has to be, as long as it stays nice and everything's fun and we just have some cool, chill vibes. That's all. These types of shows, that's all it has to be, So yeah, Do It Yourself. I do really like the show. I am very much enjoying myself with this. We have Serufu, who is accident prone and spaces out a lot and stuff like that. We have Yasuku, who is the handy person, right? She's the one that kind of started the club. Always there, always building stuff, always having a good time. And then we have Takumi, who recently joined the club, and she's just kind of there to help out. She's kind of having fun. She's a little quieter, a little more shy, but she's having a good time, and she's glad to be a part of something, right? And then we also have Miku, who I think is sort of playing a tsundere role. Sort of, she's like not into that stuff, but then she's also like, oh, why? I thought she was making a sled. So I don't really know. But yeah, so we have a bunch of characters there, and I do like the premise of it. Where, like I said, we have Serufu, super accident prone, but meets Yasuku because of it. She fixes her bike, and then she goes to thank her, and then she stumbles upon the Do It Yourself Club. Something that, again, Serufu does not have any experience in. But again, it is just like her liking Yasuku as a person, but then also her seeing it. It's like, wow, you guys build stuff. Like, this stuff is so cool. Like, and then her, sort of kind of getting like, gaslit into joining the club. But she likes it. She's having a good time. If she gets hurt, she has perfect attendance in like the infirmary, which is really funny. It's a really funny bit. Perfect attendance. But like those kind of characters are always nice, because again, like, she's not good at this stuff, but she wants to be, and she's trying to get better. She wants to be involved, you know, and you know, it could totally end with her being capable and her building something and being like, yeah, I did that by myself, you know, I finally did it myself, you know. You know, and there's also the pun where it's like her name, Yua Serafu, you know, if you were to pronounce it more like an actual native speaker, unlike me, you know, it sounds very similar to the word yourself. So it's also funny. You know, it's also a joke that they run a few times in the show. So that's cool. But yeah, you know, and then, you know, I do like the you know, the kind of, for now, the driving force of the show, which is them trying to get more members. They already have 3, which is pretty good. I'm pretty sure 3, so they just need 2 more. I don't know who it's gonna be. I mean, they might get Miku to join. That's 4, so they're like kind of biggish character we've seen. And then it ends off with this other character that just like joined, just came out of a limo. And it's sort of like villain entrance, where it's like smug and everyone's like, oh, who's that? Who's that? So I imagine that's gonna be another character as well. But yeah, I mean, this show to me is just a fun show. You know, it's just nice. It's calm. It's chill. You know, they're building benches out here out of skis. That was cool. You know, and we're just gonna see them build a bunch of stuff, I'm sure. Hopefully no conflict. You know, which is funny to say, because, you know, shows and movies and stories and stuff, you want conflict, right? But with a show like this, like more of like a slice of life type thing, it's like, if the biggest conflict is that they're just trying to get more members, that's all we need. You know, we don't need like sadness or heartbreak in a show like this. I just want to watch some cool characters, some entertaining characters building some stuff out of some other stuff. You know, that's with that I'll be happy. So let's see. You know, we're gonna keep watching this. We're gonna see what more members we're gonna get, how much you know, more complicated stuff they're gonna build. You know, and to see if there's an end goal to the show, to see if maybe they're building towards something like a school fair or something, or the festival or whatever, and they're like, oh, we're the do-it-yourself club, and here's this crazy thing we built. Maybe that's what they'll do. I don't know. And then lastly, we are on our last show, unfortunately, guys. We got Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. Why'd I say Mercury like that? Mercury. First 2 episodes. This is a show for me that I was very excited about, not because I'm a big Gundam fan, although I do want to get into Gundam. I know there's like 75,000 Gundam shows out there, and some of them are canon, some of them aren't canon. There's 2 different universes. I don't know what's going on. But the reason I was excited is because, one, I've started another Gundam show, which is like a spin-off, which means that, you know, I didn't have to watch the other 75,000 shows to watch it, was Iron-Blooded Orphans. Now, I haven't finished it. I've only seen the first like 3 episodes a while ago. I do have to get back into it, but I remember really, really enjoying it. I just stopped doing it because of, you know, just stuff happened, right? But this was another one where it's like, oh, cool, another Gundam show coming out that doesn't require any prerequisites. And I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks really cool, so let's watch it. You know? And so yeah, first couple episodes, yeah, I'll just say I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this show. I think the main thing I really liked was Suletta and Miorine, their relationship. You know, I want that to keep going. You know, not only the whole like, you're my groom, which is really funny. You know, like Suletta winning, becoming the holder, and then Miorine being like, you're my groom, dude. which is cool. But you know, but also just like them together. You know, like their dynamic is awesome. It seems like they do really care about each other, or at least they're starting to, and they're fighting for each other, and they're doing it. So you know, I really do like that. But you know, some of the big stuff in the episodes were Guel, just keeps harassing Miorine, which I really didn't like. I was like, ooh, I want him to die. I want him to die, please. But then, like, Suletta ended up challenging him. Miorine stole the suit. Wasn't really good. Miorine, apparently not good at Gundam. Apparently not good at mobile suit. Because Gundam is a type of mobile suit, I guess. And then Suletta, which is so great because she's that typical character that's like, oh, she's like sort of shy and sort of anxious and, not really a go-getter. And then she gets in the suit and she's like, I'm gonna murder this man. And she does. She does. She absolutely destroys him. Partly due to it being not a Gundam. Quote unquote not a Gundam. But also, like, she also has skills. Like, she's also a beast. So I love that for her. And then, let me get more into kind of what the show's going to be, a little bit more outside stuff. I know Gundam is really big into, like, politics and stuff, like the actual, like, politics of the world and whatever. So we get a little bit into that, where apparently Gundams are prohibited. All Gundams are to be destroyed. They're not allowed to be used anymore. I don't remember why. To me, it sounds like they're just too good. So they're like, no more Gundams. You can't use them. Cheating. It's like in like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic or whatever, where there's banned cards. Like, oh no, these cards are too overpowered. You can't use them. Which never made sense to me, because it's like, well, if everyone can use them, why are they banned? If I can use the OP card, you can use the OP card. What does it matter? But yeah. So, and what do we got? There's also some small stuff in here, which there's like a lot of discrimination. I think it's mostly against Earthians. So much discrimination, especially with like them at the lunch table and the other girls being like, that's our spot, you gotta move, and like, the one friend about to blow her top, and the other friend being like, oh no, it's cool, we'll move. And then one girl like spit her gum in her food, and it's like, oh, you said you were done, right? It's like, ooh, kill them too. First kill Guel, and then kill those guys, and then who cares, right? We won't know. There's a lot of students here, right? You won't notice if a few get missing. Oh man, so I'm sure they're probably gonna play a little more into that, because the whole like different planets and stuff are very much talked about in this show, especially like her being from Mercury. Like, oh, she's just like some country bumpkin from Mercury, and it's like, what? What? Yeah, and then we have Lady Prospera talk about how it's not a Gundam, it's an Ariel, and it's our new technology. It's not a Gundam, and then the president's like, it is a Gundam, and she's like, what proof do you have? And he's like, it's a Gundam because I say it's a Gundam. And it's like, cool. So that's how we're playing this, huh? You make the rules, and that is very much how he feels. Like, he's like, when Miorine comes in and disturbs him, she's like, so you're a king? And he's like, yes, that is right, I am a king. I have the power. And it's like, this guy needs to be taken down a peg, either literally or physically or mentally or something, because this is ridiculous. It's not a Gundam. It's not a Gundam. But yeah, what else do we got? And the other thing that kind of leads into the end is, I was really shocked when Miorine was like, when she apparently paid someone to smuggle her to Earth, and it's like, oh wow, really, she's leaving? Especially with the whole Suletta thing, because Suletta got, because she got detained or whatever. And I was like, wow, she's really gonna leave? And then she leaves, and it's like, she left? Like, I thought she had a little bit more of an attachment to Suletta, even though they knew each other for a very short time. I was kind of shocked. And then she came back. She came back just like she would. I love it. Going up against her father and challenging her to a duel. It's like, we're going to duel. What are you going to do? Not duel me? These are your rules. Your rules are that conflicts are resolved by duels, and you're not going to duel me? Wow. But he accepts. He accepts. And, Miorine and Suletta, it's a tag team effort. They're going to fight the president. And I honestly can't wait for that, man. Because, again, like, I just, described all the stuff that I really liked about these first 2 episodes. But the next episode I can't wait for, because I just can't wait. I want Miorine and Celeste to just destroy him, because and he's gonna allow them to use the Gundam not Gundam. How are they gonna lose? How are they gonna lose? They can't lose. About to destroy this man, and I love it. I love it because the dad has apparently been like controlling Miorine's life for her whole life, and all these little examples here where it's like, me talking about how much I love that Suletta is Miorine's groom. Like, I love it because two characters that are great. They seem to go well together. I don't know if they're actually going to get married. I feel like that could very much happen, where the show ends up being like, oh no, they actually fall for each other and they actually want to get married. That'd be sweet. That'd be very nice. But like, even with that, like, the whole reason that exists is because the president, the dad, was like, whoever's the holder gets to marry Miorine. It's like, you just decide that for me? Like, that's not cool, and so I just really want him to lose so that we can get some forward progress, but we'll see. I'm very much enjoying it so far. Like I said, I love their relationship that they're building. I'm interested in the whole discrimination thing. I really want to see more of that. I don't want to see more discrimination, but I want to see again some progress with that, and like see something happen where they stand up for themselves, and there is some battles and some duels where they're like, hey, stop messing with us, we're here just like you are. So we'll see, learn more about the whole Shinsei type stuff, Lady Prospera, all that good jazz. So yeah, and that is the show for today. A first episode of Not Another Isekai, where I talk about anime. Sometimes there's isekais there. I mean, let's be honest, there's always going to be isekais here. Yeah, that was the first episode. Still kind of getting into the groove of this. First episodes are always kind of weird. As we go on, we're going to tweak things. And, if you have feedback, please let me know. About the podcast in general, or maybe just, some shows that I should be watching, or some shows that you think I should drop. Because, we're doing it together. We're talking about anime together. So, all that stuff. So, yeah. Let me know what your top anime are this season so far. Which ones you're really into. You check it out every episode, every time it drops. As soon as it drops, right? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really think I have anything else to say. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Tiger T YouTube channel. That's where this lives. If you're watching this, then you already know that. Check out some of the other content. I do some other content on the channel. Right now, I think the other content I'm really making actively is reactions. I react to mostly animated stuff, different animated shorts, cartoons, anime things. That's a lot of fun. And this podcast will also, sometimes it takes like a week or two or whatever to be submitted, but this podcast should also be up on podcast platforms. Not Another Isekai. So if you want to watch, listen to the audio version, that'll be there as well. I didn't mention this. I feel like now it's kind of a moot point, but I should have mentioned this at the top of the show. But it should be true for this episode and the future episodes as well. I'm also going to try to put timestamps in all these episodes in the description, again, on YouTube or on the podcast description for each episode. Timestamps of every show. That way you can kind of skip through, because maybe some shows you don't really care about at all, but some shows you do. So you kind of skip around and, give you that option to do that a lot easier, rather than you kind of scrubbing through and being like, okay, when does he stop talking about this show and start talking about this show? So yeah, I'll try to make it as easy as possible, as accessible as possible. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything else. It's a pretty okay first episode. We're gonna every episode is gonna be better. That's the goal. So yeah, that is it. That is it for Not Another Isekai. Please check out episode 2 when it drops. Next week. It's gonna be every week. And yeah, until next time, watch more anime always.